any emerging technology that can be combined with any other form and can be applied in any field. It has become a merging technology and the application that can be combinedly affecting, or you can say a resulting effect can be seen, and these lines have been blurred, but the technological companies are getting into those emerging technologies, and technology is no longer be and silos nowadays. There has been a great advancement in technological field, and the acceleration that the pandemic has generated, and it has its own pace which is accelerated during the pandemic era, and the push to the world, and the world has come out with some innovative solutions to all kinds of problems and taken beyond that limit. All the technical companies are getting in those emerging field and they are deep dive into it. The new term is catching the fancy of all one, and as deep technical advancement, it has no clear definition but as a massive utility and the application. Different players have a different take on it, and they have a broad number of categories that are considered a deep technology by someone or the other person. So look at the advance that have taken in place in the COVID era, the artificial intelligence, the weak artificial intelligence, shallow artificial intelligence, that call it what you maybe term as, they are already and have to move, and we are directly to strongly that AI or maybe even super AI. There are enough reference to all this atmosphere, and the recent vision and Ultron from the a cinematic universe that Isaac Asimov, the short story, has written in the late 30s, that has been such a perfection, and it become a president of the world and solve those problems. What will the AI lead to? It's utopia or dystopia is have to be picked. That AI merging with those humankind, that the singularity and the valley billionaires, they're obsessed with those facts. It will be their way to gaining those immorality, that going to be having billions if you are going to die at the end of it like other mere mortals. The character played by Johnny Depp that has its consciousness uploaded into a quantum computers. All this is that at the finishing point we have just left the starting point, but the machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, it's going to be a push to the limit in the future to reach the end goal. That's the way the beginning of those Elon Musk, Starlink, Neuralink, and all those have put implanted into the human brain, and they can connect to the other devices. While we have already been familiarized with those AI in the real life, and digital assistants that are playing in the biggest role, the Apple Siri, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, and we have already started talking to an AI that have a generic robotic voice in a weak section of the artificial intelligence portion, and they have suggested that a long time they could be replaced by the celebrity that wants to gain even a more acceptance for the brave new world of future AI, that a first March implementation, and this implementation such as the voice of a Morgan Freeman, it's important for a Facebook founder for whom the AI assistant. You can use those legend Amitabh Bachchan's voice also in the Alexa in India. So now instead of commanding Alexa, you can politely ask those tasks to be performed using AI devices. And what about AI being everywhere? Alexa is your home Amazon Ring is a video doorbell outside which you can monitor all those suspicious activities outside your home, and you use those facial recognition to spot a bad character and even inform the police before you come to know of anything. And there is an indoor version of complete with a drone that which you can use for a remote surveillance for the factor. The car version can call all of your friends to pull you over and video recorded the proceedings in case you got a trouble after a need of proof to your innocence. Facebook also created a new model called SEER, which has been a 1 billion images from Instagram. This system in AI can learn from any random group of unlabeled images. The computer is also recognize those unlabeled images. Obviously, it can be used, and computer vision will be a big thing in this future. And Facebook has made a great job in this perspective. And this point is noted that more data that AI gets, more it's learned, and the more powerful it gets. All above the instances that are creating those tons of data, billions of data to be manipulated, to be accessed using those permutation, data reusability, and the combination method that can be used simultaneously for a large usefulness in this large data set. And the way it's in a smart worldwide network full of those IoT devices, much faster connectivity thanks to the onset, the 5G will put the AI on the fast track. AI will be used for the age. One estimate those puts the number of IoT devices, the 1 trillion plus sometimes in 2030s, and one estimate that it can be onset of those IoT devices at 1 trillion in next 10 years. And India is one of the cusp of this 5G era that can take those advantages. During those pandemic, that critical trial that found in AI could simplify those data management. For the purpose of drug discovery, companies are looking to make those machines collaborate with each other, with the hive mind, and there will be a lead to in space. AI is being used in the search for both alliance, and they are being used to write those books, composed musics, and have some important task, a basic reporting task. One of the dangers of this way is the deep fakes. This is important that which are being perfected and speeded by those AI, and now you can make any humans on the planet say and do everything, anything, and that could be very difficult to know the difference. You can cause those great disruption in politics, could prove to be a real legal nightmare in the future, and is already leading to a trauma thanks to pornographic deepfakes. They have really mushroomed in the future, and one country which has used this AI to create a dystopia is basically China. That's thanks to those facial recognition and the credit score that almost all the citizens there have become virtual digital slaves, and the AI also have been implemented there, and they are being called the smart code. In this pandemic, the power of hypercomputing is enabled the world in the field of fastest supercomputer. That's the Fugaku has become in the world, has become a first to cross those 1 trillion times billion floating point operations in the world by the thankful complementation and those utility in the Fugaku per millions per seconds actually this operation. And last year it was announced that Nvidia would power this Leonardo, that the world fastest AI supercomputers. And AI performances is very improved in capabilities. AI performances is Ampere based GPU. That's a pandemic as clinical trial in these areas, and that can found to simplify the data management for the purpose of drug discovery. And companies are looking to make those machines that collaborate with each other. is that those hive-minded that will lead to them. Space and AI is being utility for the used in the search for both alliance and exoplanet. They are being used to write those books, composed the interesting music, very rare, and have been replaced those basic reporting tasks for the journalist. And the danger of these deepfakes been perfected and speeded up by this AI, and you can make any human on the planet say to do nothing, and it's very difficult for the people in this future that is handled by the supercomputer using AI and machine learning, and that implementation is going to be a game changer for future world. And interestingly, humankind is very eager to get and feel those implementation, the technological revolution and the technical advancement that people are hoping to get and make those changes in their daily life in this field of technical advancement. That's all for now. Thanks for the time. See you in the next video.